Our latest big conversation here on the counterattack, talking with the head man of UC Davis men's water polo, Dan Leyson. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm a little tired, but doing well overall. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, good to talk with you. Off to a good start in that absolute gauntlet that is the Big West League. 3-0, but there are no easy days ahead. What's working right for your team currently?
I think that we have a really enthusiastic, very close knit group this year. They've been since day one. The energy and the vibes, as they say, have been really good, and the peer leadership on the team this year is fantastic, and so that makes coming to work every day a pleasure. And we work really hard together, and when we play as a team, we can be a really strong opponent.
Is there something, is it that pure leadership, something else that you can point to when you think back to last year's season and this year and what, again, it's still some time to go, but what's made things maybe different or better?
I think that, like I said, from the very first moment with our new group of captains, so that's Andrew Hitchcock, Adam Ting, Tim Kerr, and Colin Nichols. The peer leadership aspect of it has been really on another level, and they have really sort of wowed me with the ideas that they've come up with on their own about how they wanted to do things, and it's been really inspirational to me. I don't think we've had a group that has done this much stuff on their own. We've had great groups of captains, but this year has been really special. And I think for me, when I see the peer leadership and the way that they are interacting with their teammates, it's really inspirational to me. And when they're doing such a good job, it makes me extra focused on me doing my job to the best of my abilities as well. And so when you have that, we've got a team. We're working together toward the team goal all together, and it's really inspirational.
How do you describe how challenging getting through Big West play is in the regular season and then obviously that league tournament? To me, I always think of for wrestling fans, if they're familiar with the Royal Rumble, right? You just put everyone in the ring, and there's like six left at the end, and then who's going to just be the last one standing through kind of this gauntlet schedule. You could have been the best in September, and then anyone can beat anybody. It's just so tough to gauge. How do you prepare for it? How do you find a way to succeed?
Well, I think you just never feel safe ever, right? And you could be the best in the regular season, and then you still have this tournament where it just if you win the regular season, you wish there wasn't a tournament.
Yeah.
And if you don't win the regular season, then you're happy there's a tournament. And we know how tournament play is. So I think everybody's focused on being at their best in the weekend of November 21, 23. And even if you take a loss early, it may mess with your seed, but if you're not going to expect some really, really challenging games in the tournament, you're fooling yourself. So we just got to try to be at our best in the conference games, and then keep an eye on trying to, once the regular season is over, trying to reset and just get ready for the second season, which carries all the weight, you know? So,
Speaking of the second season or the postseason, there was playoff energy this past weekend. A thriller for the Aggies, golden goal, sudden death, however you want to phrase it.
yeah.
We showed the highlight earlier. We'll show it again here later. But that ball just kind of a lob dancing across the goal line. What's that moment like for you on the bench, just willing that ball to get in?
Well, that's a joyous moment. There's a monumental sense of relief, given what happened to us in order to arrive to that moment, having a 4-goal lead with a minute 38 left. And just tons of credit to San Diego, because we know that they never give up, and we've had some just monumental games with them where uh, I, I can't say that I didn't think we were going to win the game when we had a 4-goal lead, and then I watched it just slip away in the worst way possible. But again, credit to them for never giving up, and then having to go through overtime. And I mean, I can just say that it was a relief to win the game.
I was going to say, in an instance like that, right? You took the long way home, right? For sure. Can you enjoy that, or you're like, why were we even in this in the first place, dealing with this, or is it all the emotions?
It's it's honestly difficult because you just makes you second guess everything you did in order to arrive to that moment. I thought we were doing pretty well up until that point, and then it just went sideways, and like nothing we did went right in order to just hold the ball for long enough that they didn't have a chance, including giving up a counterattack goal at the end of the game. And you can just see it unfolding before your eyes in slow motion. It's too loud to really sort of direct your players toward the open shooter, and it's kind of unfolding in slow motion. And as soon as he picks that ball up, you just think, oh man, he's probably going to hit this shot just given the way things are going. And sure enough, he did. Bettner hit it, and here we go. So it was a relief. But now we got to move on to Santa Barbara next weekend, which is just another brutal Big West game.
Yeah, they've shown the ability, right, to play with everyone and anyone as well. It just challenges the rest of the way out. I'm curious, big picture for you. You've had these seasons as a person in water polo, right? As an athlete, you were for many years associated with club water polo, assistant coaching with national team, with elite college. Davis has been a home for you now for a number of years. They've obviously shown a commitment to you. You've done likewise. Is this kind of being able to lead a pretty high level college program? Is this kind of the dream you always dreamt when it comes to coaching? When you step back for a minute, just think about the big picture of your water polo life. Is this something you always hope to be doing?
Yeah, I think I think all of those things that you listed for me as a coach were to prepare me to try to do something like this with a program that perennially hadn't really done that much. They had been really good at times, but really consistently. So that was kind of the goal from day one, was to really surprise people about what things could be done at UC Davis. And I still think we can do more. And I still think we fly under the radar a little bit. And even though this season we've been ranked 6th, 7th, we're in the top 10. I think that's a huge deal. Like we're a good, solid program, and we still kind of fly under the radar a little bit just because we're the Aggies and we're in Davis and it's a little bit out of the way and we're off people's radar. And like even our location lends itself to us being a little bit not in the sort of mix of water polo hotbeds. We're just kind of separate. I like it that way. First moment I set foot on the pool deck at Davis, I thought, okay, well, this is a fantastic university, a very unique location and with a great facility. So why can't we do it here? Why shouldn't we do it here? And we should actually do it. So that's been the mission from day one. And the mission has been actually higher than we've reached in certain instances. But that's okay. If you're striving for these stretch goals, then if you come up a little bit short, then you're probably doing pretty good.
It's interesting. I think of schools in your league and WCC, you could add a few of the Eastern schools, Fordham, Princeton. A lot is made out of what I call a marquee win, right? That seems to be the thing that kind of raises eyebrows, right? Can you go and knock off UCLA or USC regular season in a situation that you're in, right? The other leagues where you pretty much are only getting in if you win your conference tourney. Is that overrated? Do we care too much about the 6 through 10 knocking off one of the top 4, given what it means in the grand scheme of things, or is that a true marker of a team's potential?
Is it a true marker? I don't know. I think they're great for the sport, quite honestly. And people, you can't help but sort of latch onto those moments. But do they mean that you're, what do they mean exactly? Because you could have a moment like that, and then you could not win your tournament, and you just disappear into the sunset as another team advances on. We took UCLA to overtime last year and probably should have won the game at their pool. And we had a terrible Big West tournament. So what does it mean? I don't know. It just, to me, that last year, all that meant was, oh my gosh, we have the potential to really have a great team, and we didn't do it. So it's just even more difficult to swallow how poorly we played at the end of the season,
Yeah.
So I think they're good for the sport. We're always striving to have those moments. They're not easy to have. We've had a few. We'd like to have more, but we'd really like to win the Big West.
Yeah.
You know, so
Is there something in your mind? This is what it will take to win the Big West. We've got to do this, this, and this.
you got to be at your best when it matters. I think there's no secrets, honestly, so I don't want to give away a trade secret here that's going to cost us the tournament. I think everybody's trying to do the same thing, and that is to be able to be at your best when it matters most, to stay relaxed and not let the moment be bigger than us, to rise and meet the moment, and to be able to be not be tight, be free, to play the type of game that we want to play. And that's the challenge, because the pressure is there. It's evident. Everybody knows it. It's not just the pressure of okay, we don't win, we don't advance. It's the pressure of, for some people, these are my last water polo games. And most all the coaches know this. Our older players are stressed out about what's to come. And so we tend to think as coaches, okay, this particular senior or these redshirt seniors that are arriving maybe to this moment, oh man, they're just going to let loose. And sometimes that's not the case, because they're thinking about what's coming after water polo, and water polo has been their life for so long. And so there's just added things into the mix that can make it really, really challenging. So that's the magic sauce we're all trying to find, is how do you be at your best when it matters most, including me as a coach. I'm a very competitive person. I want to win. And, but how do we not focus on the result? How do we stay calm and focused on the process, including during the games, right? Which can be so tense.
Talking with Dan Leyson from UC Davis. We'll venture off the pool deck here. Now, there are no national championships that I'm aware of for Giving Day videos, but I think anyone in the water polo world knows the Aggies have this cornered. You are a pretty musical guy. There's a guitar there in the room with you. You guys, I think it was you did a cover of Ice Cube one year, right? That
yes,
probably for me the best one. But tell me, how do these come about? And there's obviously supportive people at the school that are saying like, all right, guys, like, have at it.
Greg, there's not one guitar in this room. There's like 6 guitars in here. You just can't see the wall that's over there. You can't see the amps that are over here. And, we try to have fun. Like I don't want to make, in the end, college athletics is an incredible experience for the student athletes. And I want to make sure that it stays fun. Yes, there is inherent stress and anxiety, etc., involved in high level competition. But I do not want to take the fun out of the game, out of the experience. And I want to try to make sure that my players know that I'm an intense coach, and this is an intense program, but we don't want to suck the life out of it. And I see that happening other places where it's either win or it's, harikiri, and for us, the program is, and the experience is about the entire thing. And so to have a little bit of fun with Give Day videos for our team, I think is a fun thing. It shows that I'm not just a robotic monster sometimes, and Trent Calder, that was me and Trent back in the day doing it was a Give Day rap, which I thought was hilarious personally. But we've done many others. We did the cowbell, more cowbell.
Yes.
We've done the Irish wedding toast. I don't know if you've seen that one where he says something positive and everybody goes, hey, and then he says something negative and everybody goes, oh. Just keep going over and over. So we're just trying to have fun with it. And I think that now, unfortunately, people kind of expect that we do something funny every year. And so we just keep mining the Saturday Night Live archives to try to find something that we can copy to raise some money for our program, which is actually super important. So,
any hints, teasers of what's coming next?
Don't do that to me. I'm in the middle of the season. I have not thought about April next year yet, and I don't want to. And
fair. Okay. All right.
Be surprised, how late some of these ideas arrive, and then we say, let's just do it. So
we got to keep the main thing.
Yeah.
I want to close out with talking about your dad, which I think is one of the most interesting things about you and your family and just his journey. And I stumbled upon this doing some research and came upon an article that you were involved in with another player and was kind of a bit of a throwaway thing at the end. Your dad, an author, the boy in the wooden box, and it tells right his story, and you correct me here, right? But he's essentially like one of the youngest children that worked for Oscar Schindler, part of Schindler's List. If anyone has seen that movie, um, I guess first from your words, how'd you first learn about this part of your dad's life? I understand from talking to you and from the book too, it wasn't something he wanted to open up about a lot early on, right? He moved to America and was trying to kind of create something new. So how'd
Yeah.
you first learn about that, and how I think broadly has it impacted the way that you conduct yourself?
Well, he's always in my mind. He passed away in 2013. So, but he's still with me. And so, he's around a lot of, he's with me when I'm making decisions, and I think about him and what a special person he was, and it helps me. I wish he was still around. There's still so many questions I'd like to ask. I'd like to ask him how he feels about so many things and the current political climate and what's happening, et cetera, et cetera. But we can't do that. Um, but yeah, like there's a story in the book about him leaving his hat on the train when he arrived, and to his new life in California. And I think that's sort of a symbolic thing, that he wanted to leave the past behind and start anew. He had been through so much, and so he didn't really, we didn't. It wasn't driven into us. It wasn't. But there were moments, where we learned. One of the first ones was, I think, I can't remember what grade it was, but it was in elementary school, where Mrs. Samuelson asked us to interview one of our family members and talk about um, the history. And so I did an interview with my dad, and like this, I don't know what grade, fifth grade, and turned this paper into Mrs. Samuelson, and she just, it blew her mind, and she called my mom that night. And so there were times where it just gradually came out, and then surrounding the movie Schindler's List, and there was an article in the LA Times Orange County section about my dad, and from then on, there was just more attention and more things came out about it, and he began to speak more. He did not speak about his experiences, but he was coerced and encouraged to speak more and more, and that's sort of what he did in retirement, and up until he got sick and then passed away. So
I would highly recommend everyone to read that book, The Boy on the Wooden Box. Leon Leyson, his name, that was kind of an Americanized name, right? When he had moved to the United States.
yeah, originally it was Lejzen.
Yep.
So they changed it when he came over here.
What sort of, and I'm not trying to get you to start bawling here. I know this is still something that obviously can stir up emotions.
For sure.
For someone that had lived through such horror and loss and that sort of thing, what sort of perspective does that give you on the rest of life? I mean, I would think, I'm just guessing, right? Like, none of this it means a lot. You're working hard. You're trying to win. You want to be successful. But in the grand scheme, there are just these things that are so much more important,
Yeah.
is how I might feel. But I'm curious what you gain in a sense of perspective.
I can lose it. I can lose the perspective because I am very focused on winning, and I want the best I want to do the best possible job I can as a coach, and I want the players in my program to have the best possible experience they can have. And if we can win, um, then that feeling can be remembered forever. But it's not, even if we don't, the experiences, the friendships, the things that we go through on a daily basis are really what make up the specialness and the uniqueness of our program. And I can't forget that. I think perspective. I think in my father's case, just thinking about how he grew up, and then when he arrived to the United States, how he was able to sort of create a new life and put all that stuff behind him, but not be a bitter person at all. Just be, I think he was probably fascinated at watching his son and daughter grow up in a normal suburban American existence in Fullerton, California, where he didn't even get to go to high school. So he was experiencing a child in high school, and just kind of the whole thing. That I think he must have just been, he must have had moments where he was like, wow, this is so good. This is a lot easier, and probably really happy to be able to witness it.
Well,
I don't think he really was happy to witness me cutting class to go for lunch, and maybe not getting the best grades every now and then, but overall, the overall experience definitely.
well, I appreciate you sharing some of that again. If you had a chance to check out that book, certainly worth a read. Kind of want to close with talking a little bit about the journey of water polo. This episode, we've talked a bit about the Legacy Crown, a new women's event that's coming next month. And we're just talking with Natalie Benson about her time with Team USA. You spent
Mhm.
time with Team USA
Yeah.
in a couple of roles. You so often hear people that go through that talk about the journey. And I think someone that isn't involved, or maybe it doesn't get talked about with the NBA or the NHL, the NFL, right? It's kind of like a thing that I feel like only comes up in the Olympics, and people kind of maybe that aren't super involved don't get it, or they think it's like a cliche or something. But I'm curious from your perspective, why do you think people that have done this at the highest level, I'm talking water polo, why does the journey mean so much to them?
Well, you go through a lot, and so I think the water polo, it's just kind of astounding, like how far it can take you if you keep going and you end up making it to the Olympics, whether it's as a player or as a coach. And if you start out at 12 years old, and you just end up playing until you're 28, 29, and then coaching after that, I think it becomes part of your life. And so the experience that you're able to have along the way mean everything. The memories and the travel that I was able to do. I personally did not really have an Olympic dream as a player. I didn't even, and then once I didn't, but my dream was really to be able to go and live in a foreign country and play. I thought that would be really neat to be able to live in a foreign place, and I was able to do that, which is extremely lucky. And then on to top it off, I got a job being the assistant coach in 2003 for Ratko Rudic in the 2004 cycle, and so I got to go as a coach, and that was also something that blew my mind. So I think it's a lot of years that you're doing it, and so it just makes up part of who you are. There used to be a water polo sticker back in that people would put on their cars back in the day that said "water polo way of life," right? A little yellow ball that said that, and it's actually true. It is a way of life. It encompasses our whole existence. It's our frame of reference for almost everything. And my position now as an older coach, I just want to pass on all those experiences to my players in the best way possible, and the knowledge that I've been so lucky to gain, as a result of those experiences.
I got to ask you one more question because you brought up 2004, and I think the practices under Ratko Rudic have gained lore over time. Dan
Yeah,
Klatt tells one of my favorite stories of how this is before, I think, diet and exercise had kind of commingled as much as they have today. He could, during a brutal swim set, kind of come up out of the pool, like grab a Hostess cupcake, put it in his mouth, and then go back under and continue swimming because there was just sugar and calories and things needed. You were there. How grueling were these trainings?
it's hard to really put it into words. I do have a diary that I kept, that I have put into a PDF. I scanned all the pages of it. It's hundreds of pages, and it's. I really regret not taking more detailed notes. I took pretty detailed notes, but not. I mean, it's almost like a book in itself. And just looking back on some of these trainings, I witnessed what I felt at that time was the limits of human endurance. I couldn't believe what these guys were going through. And it was not just like one practice. It was like practice after practice after practice after practice. I can remember, I mean, I just couldn't believe how tired these guys were, but how they kept working, and I can remember Adam Wright just coming to me regularly and saying, you got to call the dogs off. You got to call the dogs off, and nope, the dogs were never called off. But Klatt is referencing the legendary Barbara Calvis snack closet, which was a in the training forces base inside there was a closet, and she would just stack that thing with ding dongs, cupcakes, only junk food because she really liked it. But I mean, at that point, when you're swimming that many, you could just eat anything, and it's, so there was always and there was like, I think mice got in there at one point, and like, but that forever changed my perspective on what people can do and how far they can go. That seeing it firsthand, um, just it changed the whole perspective. Not only that, but just the amount of travel that we did and the amount of time we spent overseas, like in certain time blocks of 30 days or 51 days or whatever it was. It opened my vista, it opened my horizons, and I loved it. It was hard as ever, but I loved it. And I want, when I have a young coach that, wants to work with me, I try to also change their horizons. If you come from if you only played high school water polo and now suddenly maybe you're the assistant coach at UC Davis, or I'm trying to also open their minds about so many things that my mind was open to as well, just trying to pass it on. So it was life changing for everyone involved.
If you ever write the book, you have the title, The Limit of Human Endurance, My Time Inside the '04 Athens men's water polo team. Dan Leyson, super interesting talk as always. Appreciate your insights on a variety of topics, and wishing you and the Aggies all the best here in the stretch run of the Big West.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me, and I love what you're doing. So keep it up.